January 22nd, 2026. Caitlin Clark blew out the candles on her 24th birthday. The Indiana Fever surprised her with a cookie cake shaped like the number 22. Sweet, right? Heartwarming? Not according to half the WNBA. Because while Clark was smiling for the cameras, something else was happening behind the scenes. Something that has veteran players, Hall of Famers, and league insiders absolutely livid. Within hours of that birthday video going viral, the internet didn't just wish her well, they crowned her. Millions of fans flooded social media with 4 letters that used to belong to Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird, and Cheryl Swoops, GOAT, the greatest of all time, at 24 years old, and that's when the war started. Here's what the mainstream media won't tell you. This isn't just about whether Caitlin Clark deserves the title. This is about power. This is about a player who has done something no legend before her could do. She made the WNBA profitable. She made expansion teams financially viable. She made charter flights a reality. And in doing that, she exposed an uncomfortable truth that is tearing the league apart from the inside. The old guard built this league with their bare hands. They played through injury, through disrespect, through poverty-level contracts. And now, a 24-year-old with 2 seasons under her belt is being called the greatest ever. Many of you have been saying this for weeks. You've noticed the coded language from certain veterans. You've seen the hard fouls that cross the line. You were onto something when you noticed that some of the loudest critics of the GOAT conversation have one thing in common. They're watching their legacies get rewritten in real time. If you believe the story behind the story matters, if you think there's more to this birthday celebration than meets the eye, hit that like button right now. It tells us you're ready for the truth, and trust me, what's coming next is going to shake everything you thought you knew about WNBA politics. Let's start with the timeline, because context is everything. 2 years ago, Caitlin Clark was a rookie phenom coming off the greatest college career in basketball history, men's or women's. The questions were predictable. Can she handle WNBA physicality? Can she shoot over elite defenders? Will the hype translate? Fast forward to January 2026. Those questions didn't just get answered, they got obliterated. The 2025 season wasn't just good. It was a statistical anomaly. Records didn't fall by narrow margins. They were shattered by hundreds. 3-point records, assists records, scoring efficiency. But here's where it gets interesting. While Clark was rewriting the record books, something else was happening. The economic indicators of the WNBA started moving in ways they never had before. Attendance wasn't just up. It doubled in some markets. Merchandise sales exploded. Sponsorship deals that had been stagnant for decades suddenly had bidding wars. And the TV ratings? We're talking about numbers that rival men's playoff games. This is the hidden story. This is what the birthday celebration accidentally exposed. Caitlin Clark didn't just become a great player. She became the single most valuable asset in the history of women's professional sports. Now, put yourself in the shoes of a WNBA legend. You spent 15 years grinding. You won multiple championships. You sacrificed your body for a league that paid you less than some overseas opportunities. You built your legacy brick by brick. And then a 24-year-old shows up, plays 2 seasons, and the entire conversation shifts. Not just shifts, it erases. Let's filter out the noise and look at what's actually being said. When the GOAT debate exploded yesterday, it wasn't just fans weighing in. Certain veterans started posting cryptic messages. Rings matter became a rallying cry. Championships defined greatness, trended for hours. But reading between the lines reveals something darker. This isn't about basketball philosophy. This is about survival. Because here's the uncomfortable question nobody wants to ask out loud. If Caitlin Clark is the GOAT at 24 without a championship, what does that say about the legends who do have rings? It says that maybe, just maybe, the game has evolved beyond them. It says that individual impact can eclipse team success. It says that the metrics we use to measure greatness are obsolete. And that's terrifying. Not for Clark, for everyone else. There's a specific moment from Clark's birthday press conference that went largely unnoticed, but it tells you everything. A reporter asked her about the pressure of being called the greatest at such a young age. She smiled, gave the PR-friendly answer about just wanting to play basketball. But if you watch the full clip, there's a 3-second pause before she answers. Her eyes shift, her jaw tightens. That's the look of someone who knows exactly what's happening. She knows she's become a threat, not to opposing teams, to history itself. Connecting the dots reveals a pattern that's been building all season. Remember the flagrant fouls that seemed unusually aggressive. Remember the veteran players who refused to acknowledge her accolades. Remember the whispers about locker room tensions? None of that was random. That was a coordinated resistance. Because when you threaten the established order fights back. Now, we're getting into territory that some people won't want to hear, but multiple sources close to the league have been whispering about what they're calling the legacy protection movement. It's not an official thing. There's no organized group. But there is a collective understanding among certain players and media members. The narrative must be controlled. Caitlin Clark cannot become the GOAT this young. Because if she does, it invalidates decades of work. Let's be crystal clear about something. This isn't about disrespecting legends like Tracy Bird or Lisa Leslie. Those players are titans. Their contributions are undeniable. But sports evolve. The three-point line changed basketball forever. The internet changed how we consume it, and Caitlin Clark changed what's possible economically and athletically. That's not an insult to the past. That's just evolution. But evolution has casualties, and right now, the casualties are the narratives we've been told for 25 years about what makes a WNBA player great. You were supposed to pay your dues. You were supposed to win multiple championships before even being in the conversation. You were supposed to respect the hierarchy. Clark didn't just skip those steps, she proved they were never necessary. The birthday surprise video that went viral yesterday, that cookie cake shaped like 22, on the surface, it's adorable. The Fever organization showing love to their franchise player, but peel back one layer and you'll see something else. That video was strategic. It humanized Clark right as the GOAT debate was reaching a fever pitch. It reminded people she's still just 24. Still figuring it out, still deserving of grace. But grace is the last thing she's getting from certain corners of the WNBA universe. Here's where this story takes a turn that's going to make some people uncomfortable. And I need you in the comments right now telling me if I'm seeing patterns that aren't there, or if you've noticed this too. Drop your thoughts below because what I'm about to show you connects to something much bigger than one birthday. There's a leaked report that's been circulating in sneaker industry circles for the past 2 weeks. We're not talking about normal endorsement contract renewal. We're talking about a lifetime partnership deal that would give Caitlin Clark ownership equity in a major brand. The kind of deal that's only been offered to Michael Jordan. The kind of deal that says, you're not just an athlete, you're the brand. If that deal goes through, and sources suggest an announcement could come within 60 days, it ends the debate permanently, not through basketball achievements, through economic validation. The market will have decided that Caitlin Clark is the most valuable basketball player on the planet, male or female, past or present, and that's what has the old guard terrified. Because you can argue about rings all day, but you can't argue with a 9-figure lifetime contract at age 24. Let's talk about what that actually means. Diana Taurasi, arguably the greatest women's basketball player before Clark arrived, has made roughly $1.5 million in her best WNBA season. Sue Bird, another all-time great eye, never cracked $300,000 in league salary during her peak years. These legends built their wealth through overseas contracts and endorsements, fighting for scraps compared to their male counterparts. And now, Caitlin Clark is about to sign a deal that could be worth more than the combined career earnings of every WNBA player in history. Combined. Let that sink in. That's not just wealth transfer. That's power transfer. That's generational warfare disguised as business. But here's the question that's splitting the WNBA community down the middle. Does she deserve it? Not officially confirmed, but the breadcrumbs lead to a very uncomfortable answer. Yes, she does. And no, it's not fair. Both things can be true simultaneously. She deserves it because she fundamentally altered the business model of women's basketball. Before Clark, expansion was a painful crawl. New franchises were financial risks. Now, cities are bidding for WNBA teams like their NFL franchises. That's not hyperbole. Golden State's new expansion team, that exists because Caitlin Clark proved women's basketball can be profitable. The Toronto franchise coming in 2027? Same story. But it's not fair because the legends who built the foundation never got their payday. They broke down the doors. They fought the battles. They played through indifference and disrespect. And by the time the money showed up, they were retired or in the twilight of their careers. That resentment is real. That anger is valid. And it's manifesting in ways that are fracturing the league. We're getting into rumor territory now, but multiple sources have told us about an incident at the All-Star break last season, a private dinner where several veteran players and Hall of Famers gathered. The topic: how to contextualize Caitlin Clark's achievements. Translation: how to make sure she doesn't eclipse their legacies. One source described the conversation as respectful but intense. Another called it uncomfortable. A third said flatly, "There's a group that wants her to fail." Now, we can't verify every detail of that dinner, but we can verify the pattern of behavior that followed. The coded social media posts, the lukewarm praise, the emphasis on championships define greatness. All of it happened after that gathering. And here's where it gets really dark. If these reports are accurate, there's a coordinated effort to gatekeep GOAT status until Clark wins multiple titles, which sounds reasonable on the surface. But let's examine what that really means. It means moving the goalposts, because the same people demanding championships for Clark didn't hold LeBron to that standard at 24. They didn't hold Kobe to it. They didn't even hold Michael Jordan to it. Jordan at 24, 0 rings. Still being called the future GOAT. LeBron at 24, 0 rings. Already being compared to Jordan, but Caitlin Clark at 24 with economic impact that dwarfs both of their early careers? Not yet. Win some titles first. You see the double standard? The WNBA community is buzzing about a phrase that keeps appearing in these discussions. Whoa, earn it the right way. But who decides what the right way is? The legends who earned it through longevity and championships, or the new generation that's redefining what impact looks like? This is bigger than basketball, and many of you have been saying this for weeks. This is about generational power structures. This is about who gets to decide what greatness means. And right now, the fans are deciding, social media is deciding, the market is deciding, and they're all saying the same thing. Caitlin Clark is different. She's beyond comparison. She's the GOAT. But the establishment isn't ready to concede. There was a moment in Clark's birthday press conference that perfectly encapsulates this tension. After dodging the GOAT question, a follow-up came. "Do you feel the weight of being the face of the league?" Her response was measured. "Pressure is a privilege. I'm just focused on getting better." Textbook media training. But watch the faces of the other Fever players in the background of that video. Watch how they react. Some are nodding, some are smiling. One player, and I won't name her because this could cause problems, visibly rolls her eyes. That micro expression lasted maybe half a second, but if you're paying attention, if you're connecting the dots, you see it. Even on her own team, there's tension. Now, let's project forward, because this birthday isn't an ending, it's a checkpoint. At 24, players usually enter their prime. That means we haven't seen peak Caitlin Clark yet. We've seen the phenom. We've seen the adjustment period. What's coming next is mastery. A version of Clark who understands WNBA officiating, who's added more weapons to her arsenal, who's figured out how to conserve energy over an 82-game grind. That's terrifying for the competition. But it's even more terrifying for the legacy protectors, because every year she gets better, every record she breaks, every economic milestone she hits, the gap widens. Not just between her and her peers, but between her and history. There's a Kobe Bryant interview from 2015 that's been making the rounds on WNBA Twitter today. In it, Kobe talks about greatness. He says greatness isn't about stats or rings. It's about making people feel something. It's about inspiration. When you watch Caitlin Clark play, what do you feel? Do you feel like you're watching the future, or are you clinging to the past? That's the question dividing the WNBA right now. And it's the question that will define the next decade of women's basketball. Because if Clark is the GOAT at 24, if the conversation is already over, then what does that mean for everyone chasing her? What does it mean for the veterans protecting their legacies? What does it mean for the legends who thought their places in history were secure? It means the game changed, and not everyone can adapt. So here's what I want you to do. If this video opened your eyes to the hidden war happening behind the smiles and the birthday cakes, you need to subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that notification bell because we're the only ones telling you what's really happening in the WNBA. The mainstream media is too afraid. The league-controlled outlets can't say these things, but we can, and we will. Next video, we're exposing the exact financial numbers that have certain WNBA owners quietly terrified of what the Caitlin Clark effect means for competitive balance. You think this story is big? Wait until you see what's coming. Happy birthday, Caitlin Clark. You didn't just turn 24, you turned the entire basketball world upside down. And judging by the chaos you've created, you're just getting started. See you in the next one.